So I finally finished watching The Defenders, and the whole time there's one question that I can't stop thinking about. Why is the Hand so boring?
So far in Marvel's little Netflix mini-universe, they've made 6 seasons of television, 2 for Daredevil, and 1 each for Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and The Defenders. Of those 6, 3 feature the Hand as primary antagonists, which is a problem. They first show up in the 2nd season of Daredevil, as an ancient society of ninjas that's also very involved in multinational corporations. At first they seem exciting since, ninjas. But this storyline quickly grows dull since there are no real characters in the Hand, just a general formless threat. And the show seems to mistakenly think that adding more ninjas will create more drama. Then they're back again in Iron Fist, again involved in corporate espionage, and now linked to Iron Fist's backstory, since he apparently spent years in the mystical city of Kunlun training to fight the Hand. Again, they're this vague threat with unclear motives, controlling things from behind the scenes, but hey, maybe it's all going to culminate in something interesting. Finally, the Hand takes center stage as the big bad in The Defenders, as we get to know their leaders and understand their goals, while the heroes team up to stop them from destroying New York City. But after all that mystery, it turns out the leaders of the Hand might as well be board members for some corporation, and their grand plan is both boring and nonsensical. They want to get Iron Fist to punch a wall to destroy New York so they can get a substance that will allow them to live forever. Apparently they used the last of the substance to resurrect Elektra because I guess they thought she might be helpful? So where did the writers go wrong? How did they take an inherently cool concept and make it distinctly uncool? To find out, let's go back to their comic book origins. On paper, a lot about the Hand's introduction in the show and comics is similar. They were introduced by writer-artist Frank Miller during his legendary story, The Elektra Saga, which is a major inspiration for both Daredevil Season 2 and The Defenders. The same pieces are there: Daredevil and Elektra fighting ninjas, resurrections, Elektra's death, Stick and the Chased waging an eternal war, but the use of these pieces is very different. So the Hand are involved in an ancient ongoing war with a not-quite-so-evil ninja organization called the Chased, of which Daredevil's former mentor, Stick, is a member. So how do the show and comic deliver this information differently? In the comic, the Hand enter the story occasionally, but we never know much about them. We know they're assassins for hire, that they can resurrect the dead, and that's pretty much it. Then, more than a year into the story, after Elektra's death, Stick says a few lines about how he's fighting this ongoing war against the Hand, and then he dies. So that's all we know and all Daredevil ever finds out. Oh yeah, Black Widow is there too. Later, we learn more about the Chased and the Hand in an extended flashback that follows Elektra through their worlds as she's training to become a ninja. The story pieces out bits of information about the Hand to us over several years, but they remain mysterious. We never really know how they function, and that's what makes them interesting. The show takes a different approach. Right after Daredevil first encounters some of the Hand's ninjas, Stick arrives, sits down, and proceeds to just recite the Hand's entire Wikipedia entry. It's a full 5 minutes that's just Scott Glenn sitting in a chair dumping info on the audience. You know that old saying about show don't tell? Well, the writers of these shows apparently don't, and it becomes an ongoing problem with how the Hand is presented. And when we meet the Hand's leaders and find out their motivation, that they were cast out of Kunlun, it's very hard to care because even out of all these shows, we never see Kunlun. Not even in Iron Fist, a show about a guy who spent 15 years there. The most we see is a small room. Good drama comes from conflict. The Marvel TV villains that have been effective all had clear, strong conflicts. With Wilson Fisk, we understood his motivations and the ideological difference that brought him into conflict with Daredevil. Kilgrave's conflict with Jessica Jones is deeply personal and drives that entire season's story. But with the Hand, the conflicts are nebulous. The Hand is involved in heroin distribution, assassinations, shady corporate dealings, an ancient war with the Chased, and later on, trying to destroy New York. The motivations are unclear, the goals are unclear, and it makes the conflict unclear, other than that the heroes are trying to stop them because they're just generally bad. Telling us Iron Fist's destiny is to destroy the Hand doesn't make compelling conflict. The big problem that becomes clear over the course of these seasons is that the Hand were never meant to be primary antagonists. Look at Miller's entire Daredevil run, and as often as the Hand appear, the main conflict is never with them. Most of the stories involve ongoing conflicts with the Kingpin or Bullseye, and the Hand show up because they're hired assassins. Out of Miller's 24 issues as writer-artist, the Hand only appear in 8. And in the comics, Daredevil never gets involved in the war between the Hand and the Chased. He crosses paths with them a couple times, but Stick dies before he can even attempt to recruit him. The only time Daredevil actually teams up with the Chased is at the very end of Miller's run, as he's trying to get Elektra's dead body back from the Hand before they can resurrect her as their new champion. But in the Defenders, Stick shows up and immediately ropes Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist into joining his side in the war against the Hand. They get fully immersed in a conflict that, in the source material, mostly existed off to the side. And the reason it existed off to the side is that it works better that way. These are faceless organizations engaged in a war that has gone on for millennia. That sounds cool, but once you zoom in, there's not much to latch onto. And throughout the past 30 years of Marvel Comics, it's hard to pinpoint a great story where the Hand is the primary antagonist. There are plenty where they're involved, like the Wolverine story Enemy of the State, or Miller's own Elektra Assassin. But in these, the Hand tends to be a force that sets the story in motion, or part of the backstory, or sometimes the story will focus on just one of their agents, like Lady Bullseye. To my knowledge, there are no great stories about stopping the Hand from taking over the world. In Marvel's Netflix shows, the writers tried to reconfigure the Hand into something they weren't meant to be, and lost sight of what made them interesting. They made ninjas boring. And that's just unacceptable. Also, this is a small note, but these shows left out one of the coolest things about the Hand, that their champion at any given time is possessed by a demon they worship called the Beast. That's so cool. Why would you leave that out? Hey guys, thank you for watching, and thank you to my buddy Will Carmack for giving me the idea for this video. Now, if you liked this and want new videos that are kind of like this every single week, you should probably subscribe. Now, this video is brought to you by Squarespace. If you want to make a website and you want it to be a really simple, easy process, but still look great, then Squarespace is the obvious choice. They have beautiful, award-winning designer templates. Picking a domain name is really, really easy. Nothing to install or upgrade, no annoying stuff like that. There's 24-hour customer service. It has a lot going for it. And for 10% off your first purchase, go to squarespace.com/Patrick, my name. The link is in the description. Now, if you, like me, were frustrated by the Defenders and want something similar but much better, I would highly recommend the original Frank Miller Daredevil run, which I talked about a bunch in this video. It's great. And also the Immortal Iron Fist by Matt Fraction, Ed Brubaker, and David Aja, which is like 100 times better than the Iron Fist show. It's great. You should check those out. If you want to help us make more of these videos because you like what we're doing, you should check out the Patreon. If you want to yell at me about anything and get updates on the new things we're working on, you should follow me on all the social media links, and I will see you next Wednesday.